Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're at question number 191. Let me go back up to the right slide here. So the purpose of these videos is to help you get ready and feel confident about a DevOps SRE interviews you might have in your future. I try to cover the most important topics at the right, hopefully at the right depth and width, so that I can cover as much of the possible questions as possible. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It's nothing for you, but it actually makes a big difference in my channel. So I really appreciate that if you did that. So you might know from my other videos that I did some research on LinkedIn based on 35 job descriptions. And these are the top 15 topics that I came up with for DevOps and SRE role interviews. The top ones are more important than the ones at the bottom. So please focus on the top 5 or 6. But the ones at the bottom are also not negligible. That means you should spend at least some time studying those topics as well. Okay, today we're on topic number 1, AWS/cloud. So that's our main topic today. And the question today is, explain how DynamoDB handles scalability and high availability, and describe a scenario when you would need to use a global secondary index versus a local secondary index. Those are two different index types that DynamoDB offers. They're drastically different, so you need to know what applies when, right? That's the question. It's okay to struggle a little bit with this question during the interview, because the interviewer obviously does not um, expect you to know the nitty-gritty details of this, because DynamoDB topic is a NoSQL topic that's kind of already on the not at the core of what DevOps people would do day to day, if you will. And when you're talking indexes, now we're getting really kind of deep. So it's okay for you to just know the answers somewhat superficially. Just a quick reminder to use my career advisor, Floyd Spencer's 1 hour free session. I'm not financially affiliated with him. He's just passionate about helping people who are in the job market. So please take advantage of that. So DynamoDB is a NoSQL database in AWS. If you don't know what that is, please look that up. I'm not going to cover that here. But for DynamoDB, the scalability and the high availability really comes in built in. So the way it scales is, first of all, you have to know that it works on a partition by partition model, right? So your data, as it grows, it gets more and more partitions. So one partition of data lives on node here, and the second one lives somewhere else. So as you grow, your partitions will grow, and so therefore, your scalability will be taken care of automatically by AWS by putting the new data into new nodes. Now, that's the scalability part. To make it high available, what AWS does is it makes copies. I think by default maybe 3 copies of each data into three different availability zones. So even if AWS loses a node, or it even loses a whole availability zone, you still have 2 copies of your data in other availability zones and other nodes. So that's how it basically gives you a built-in solution for highly available availability for DynamoDB, which is why it almost never goes down. Now, talking about indexes, first of all, you have to know that it helps you search for data quicker. Without an index, it has to go back and read the whole table, and that's just not efficient at all. So you have to have indexes. Now, there are two types: this global index and a local index, like global secondary index and local secondary index. Overall, you have to understand that these two things are addressing 2 different problems, if you will, right? So for global, you're paying more. It's a bigger scale thing. Um, it's also more flexible. For local, it's a little bit more less in scope, and you have to have it ready to go when you first create your DynamoDB. You cannot do local indexes in flight, but it is not as expensive, and it's also not as big. It doesn't take as much data, right? So 2 different kind of solutions. So in general, what you have to think about is, if you are going to have an index that's going to be used by all of the users, right? Those are the things that you want to put on a global. The local indexes are really more for smaller scale usage by maybe a subset of users have access to this data, and so on and so forth, right? So you also don't want to commit to a huge cost by having a global index at the beginning. You start with local, and as you grow, and only if you need it, you use a global secondary index. I'm not going to bore you with reading all the little details that I have on the table here, but that's the general idea. You can read those for yourself, but that's the general idea you want to convey to your interviewer when the time comes. If you have further specific questions or if you need my help, please reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I will try my best to help you out. And I will see you in the next one.